Hello everybody. Addison and Mackenzie here, just jumping on to give a quick content warning for today's episode.
Today, along with our usual swearing and shenanigans, we discuss topics of suicide and sexual assault in Greek mythology.
We want our listeners to be as comfortable as possible, so if you don't want to hear about this, please know there are no hard feelings with you clicking off. We will miss you and can't wait to have you back next month.
That being said, let's get into the episode.
Antigone, you look kind of scary.
Hello, my name is Addison, and I'm Mackenzie. This is Silly Religion. Let's get silly. I would die if she stayed on the couch the entire time. Hello, my name is Addison.
I'm Mackenzie, and we're your co-hosts.
Welcome to Silly Religion.
Let's get silly.
Anyways, so you all may have noticed that we, in fact, did not put out a second episode for January.
Oops.
Or a first episode for February.
Oops.
To be fair,
I broke up with my partner.
I wasn't gonna go there and say that.
I mean, it's a valid excuse.
It is.
I dumped her the day we filmed the last episode.
I was busy joining a sorority.
My sorority.
Yeah, love the sorority. I also just didn't want to for a little bit.
Yeah.
The
motivation was not there. The dopamine was not
No.
being fueled.
No.
Also, college is hard.
It is hard. And, I'm not taking a lot of hard classes. My highest level class is 300 level. But,
my stats class is whooping my ass right now.
Oh, yeah. I am a academic victim for chemistry.
I am academic weaponing in every single class except my stats class. And that's just because it's an 8-week course. And I'm like,
yeah,
I need us to slow down.
Yeah. Well, look at it this way. You have 3 weeks left.
Yes.
And then
you're done. And then I'm only doing 15 credit hours.
Oh my gosh. You're going to be slaying.
Slay.
And so between now and the end of the semester, we're only going to be doing 1 episode a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 2 of them are going to be so fun.
Yes.
We have the infamous Ashton coming on. That one, oh boy. Then we're going to have a fun little graduation special.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember off the top of my head what our next episode is. So I'm not going to...
It is... Can I share?
Yeah.
It is cults and new religious movements.
Oh, yeah.
Fun fact about me, before I decided to go into what I am going into, I originally went into I'm still in psychology, but I originally went into psychology in the mindset that I wanted to go into cult deprogramming.
Yeah.
But then I decided I didn't want to live in California, and so then I changed career paths.
Is there not? I feel like there would be something for that in Chicago, because there are a lot of cults that could be practicing in the Midwest.
Yeah, but also, do I want to live in the Midwest?
I might be moving to Chicago.
Do I want to live anywhere? I would like to just float, just not really exist anywhere, but exist. I want to be omnipresent.
I don't know how to make this transition because I'm feeling a little bit out of practice. So we're just gonna...
Boys can be attracted to their moms. Do you know what I hate? Greek mythology.
Do you know what I love?
Greek mythology. You know what we're doing? Greek mythology.
We're doing 1 episode on it.
Yeah. I wish I was a Greek mythology girly. I read the Song of Achilles and I liked it.
Okay.
But also I liked the love more than the Greek part of it. I think part of the reason I don't like Greek mythology, everybody who has ever listened to an episode knows I cannot pronounce things for shit. So I read these things, and in my head, I will be reading a sentence, and then I get to a name, and it's just, and then I keep moving on.
Yep. I feel that way about the Bible. Jehoshaphat? What do you mean, Jehoshaphat? Who's Jehoshaphat?
But yeah, Greek mythology.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. Just like Nebraska.
Anyways, so we're going to start off with a little game like we like to do. And today, how it's going to work, I'm calling it myth or made up. I came up with that all on my own.
I could tell you were really proud of it when you said it. I call it myth or made up.
And so the way this is going to work, we have 3 myths. 2 of them are actual myths. 1 I wrote myself. And I'm going to read you all 3. And then you're going to have to pick out which one you think I wrote. So our first one is going to be Hyacinth and Apollo.
Okay.
I chose this one because it's gay. Hyacinth was a young, handsome youth that Apollo, god of light and prophecy, took a liking to. Apollo, being the eternal, hopeless romantic, immediately fell in love with the young man and began courting him. The two spent all their time together, but especially spent their time competing in different sporting events. They were like, we're strong.
Isn't Hyacinth a flower?
One day, while the 2 lovers were engaging in the sport of discus throwing, a horrible accident occurred. I'm glad somebody dramatically gasped. Apollo threw the discus, but having the strength of 10 normal men, threw it too hard. No one throws discuses like Apollo. Threw it too hard, and when the wind changed direction, the discus hit Hyacinth right in the head. Bonk!
I got hit in the head with a tennis racket one time.
I hit Brendan in the head with a softball bat on accident once. And it wasn't like I was just like going like this. No, I was in the backyard practicing.
Yeah, that's how
full speed. And I accidentally hit him right here. He was 3.
Yeah, no. A girl and I were playing tennis like up against her garage, swings, nails me in the forehead. And then I had to apologize to her for crying.
Hyacinth fell to the ground dead.
Icon.
But even though Apollo was a god of healing, there was nothing the god could do, as his strength had caused Hyacinth's head to be damaged beyond all repair. In his great grief, Apollo turned Hyacinth's once beautiful body into a flower to commemorate his love for him, and that's why we have the hyacinth flower today.
I am so genius. Okay, well now but at first I was really confident because it was like, Hyacinth is a flower, so did she just make up this name and hope I didn't know it was the flower? But now there's a reasoning, so I can't be like, that's false.
Up next, we have Carina and Selena. Carina is, I will just give you this information, Carina is a constellation.
And Selena is Selena Gomez.
Selena is the goddess of the moon.
From Wizards of Waverly Place.
You know everything's gonna be a journey and no doubt inside of me. Yes, please.
I was a little too young for Wizards of Waverly Place.
Y'all ever just hear something that makes you feel like you belong in a geriatric home? Carina and Selena.
Gomez.
In the ancient kingdom of Ephesus, there lived a maiden named Carina, known for her unparalleled beauty and her gift of music. Carina's voice was said to be so enchanting that it could rival the sirens of the sea. However, Carina harbored a secret longing to explore the depths of the night sky and dance among the stars. One fateful evening, as Carina sang by the river, she caught the attention of Selena, the goddess of the moon. Captivated by Carina's melodious voice, Selena descended from her celestial realm to listen. Struck by Carina's beauty and talent, Selena offered her a deal. In exchange for her voice, Selena would grant Carina the ability to roam the heavens as a constellation, forever illuminating the sky. Carina, torn between her love for music and her desire to touch the stars, accepted the goddess's offer. As her voice faded into the night, Carina transformed into a constellation. Her shimmering form forever etched among the stars, her songs carrying across the cosmos for eternity.
So it's like the Little Mermaid.
Kind of, yeah. Psyche and Eros. Psyche is a beautiful woman, one of 3 sisters, and easily the most beautiful of the 3. Indeed, so beautiful that no man would marry her because they all found her beauty too intimidating. Psyche's despairing father sought out the advice of the oracle, which told him that he should dress Psyche in wedding attire and then leave her on a rock. A horrific monster would come by and snatch her up, carrying her off. Sure enough, when her father had placed her upon a rock as commanded by the oracle, Psyche was carried off by something, but it wasn't a monster, just the wind. She was dropped into the garden of a beautiful golden palace. Going inside, she found invisible servants ready to do her bidding. When night came, Psyche was aware of a presence next to her in the dark, and knew this was the husband of which the oracle had spoken. She wanted to see the man who had married her, but he forbid it, telling her that if she ever saw him, he would disappear. Psyche was happy with this deal, at least at first. Do you have commentary?
I was gonna say, I think I know this one. So I think I know it's true.
She lived with her husband in the palace, and he allowed her to return home and visit her parents to reassure them she was alive and well and happily married. However, Psyche's sisters, less beautiful than she was, were jealous when they saw how happy and in love their sister was, and decided to ruin things for her. They planted seeds of doubt in Psyche's mind about who her husband was. After all, she'd never seen him and was forbidden to do so.
Love is blind. OG.
Yeah. They told her she should conceal a lamp in the bedroom when she returned to her husband so she could steal a glimpse of him.
Okay. Yeah, I know this one.
When Psyche returned to her husband, she did just that, and her husband slept beside her. She took the lamp out and lit it, revealing the handsome features of Eros, the man who had married her. But a drop of oil from the lamp dripped onto Eros' sleeping face, waking him, and he fled from her, just as he had warned he would. She left the palace, since it was no longer her home, now that love had fled, and she wandered the world, eventually being captured by Aphrodite, the goddess of love, who was jealous of Psyche's beauty. Aphrodite locked Psyche up and forced her to complete menial tasks for her. But Eros still loved Psyche, and so he came to her when she slept and woke her with one of his arrows, taking her with him to Zeus. Eros sought Zeus's permission to marry Psyche, and Zeus agreed to this. Aphrodite and Psyche made things up, and everyone lived happily ever after. It should say that Aphrodite and Psyche made up, and they lived happily ever after.
They made out and lived happily ever after. Okay.
She and her mother-in-law smushed faces.
I have one question.
Okay.
The one that is made up, did you completely make it up, or did you just...
I completely made it up.
I was like, I wanted to make sure you weren't just twisting little facts and be like, actually...
No, I wrote this.
Okay. I know that the last one is real because it was in our reading last week.
I did not do the reading last week.
It was in our reading last week because it was all about how, women don't really, win in Greek mythology, and that was one of the examples.
Yeah.
That was in it. So I know that one is true.
Okay.
Selena Gomez or gay lovers.
And mind you, whichever one I wrote to trick you.
Okay, here's my issue.
Okay.
It feels homophobic to say the gay one's fake. But also, I know that you would be like, she likes gay people because she is a gay people, kind of, and would feel inclined. But also, Selena feels like a fake name for this situation.
Would you like me to spell Selena?
Yeah.
Selene. That's the actual name of the moon goddess, and how to spell it.
It's also feeling like you you plagiarized The Little Mermaid. Also, you said melodious, and I was like, melodious. Okay, I can't think. Number 3 is real.
Yeah. That's not the goal, though.
I know, I'm trying. Number 3 is real.
Yeah.
I want the gay people to be real.
I need you to put in your final answers. Which one's fake?
The second one. The Little Mermaid in the stars.
You are correct!
Yes! Go gay people!
I googled gay myths. I was trying to trick you.
I love gay people, and that one better be true. And it's tragic enough to be true. And also the flower exists. And the other one, I just didn't feel the connection. Didn't feel the passion.
Yeah.
I'm so smarty pants.
You are so smarty pants. Well, any day. Any day?
Any day now.
Any day now. No, so today we're talking about Greek mythology, obviously. We're not specifically going into, Zeus and
We're just gonna
Poseidon.
talk about Percy Jackson for an hour. I never finished it.
The show?
Yeah.
I had a whole watch party.
My dad was in town.
I know.
I was hanging out with my bestie.
I know.
No, I am halfway through the second to last episode.
Oh, okay. So
But
you're not just like abandoning it.
maybe.
Mackenzie!
I'm just not like into it.
We don't have to like the same things, and
We
that's
don't
okay.
have to like the same.
Honestly, I think it would be really boring if we only liked the same things.
Yeah.
Anyways, so what the fuck is a myth, right? It is, according to a children's YouTube video that I watched, stories that were told to help understand things they didn't understand. So, like, why is there fire? Why is the sun moving? Why do I want to fuck my mom? So, anyways, today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite people in Greek mythology, and then, like, her...
Your mom.
Not her mom.
Your mom.
But, like, her dad.
So funny.
You are so funny. You are funny, though. Okay.
So, Greek myths.
They were incorporated into stories of everyday life, such as theater, because they were, like, well known, right? It's like if I casually made a play about Jesus. I don't know any of the lyrics to Jesus Christ Superstar.
I don't either.
Anyways, so today we are talking about two plays. Antigone and Oedipus Rex.
Whenever I hear Antigone, all I can hear in my head is Agony from Into the Woods.
Agony! I love that. I actually like the Disney movie version
I
of
do
it with
too.
Chris Pine. It's
And Anna
funny.
Kendrick.
Yeah. Okay, so these two plays were written by this bitch-ass man named Sophocles.
And they're part of a set of 3, aren't they?
It's part of a set of 3. Oedipus Rex, blank, Antigone.
And they're the Theban plays.
The Theban plays.
Ho ho ho.
Sophocles, 496 to 406 BCE. I hate working in BCE because I do not like that the dates are backwards.
So 90?
He was 90 years old.
Okay.
Which I feel like that's fucking old for BCE.
Didn't they live to be like 10?
Yeah. They were babies. He was known for his Greek tragedies. He's not considered the father of tragedy. That's some other dude whose name starts with an A, and I honestly do not give a shit about him, so I didn't write it down.
Aaron?
Who?
Aaron? No.
No.
Shut the fuck up.
So they regularly, like, had their plays performed at these competitions, and so even though this other A dude is the father of tragedy, Sophocles won more awards than him.
He's like the uncle of tragedy.
He participated in 30 competitions, and he won 24 of them, and the other 6 that he lost, he got second place.
I would hate to compete against him, but also that would be a good, like, enemies to lovers.
Oh my
Why?
gosh. After I finish that one romance book I'm writing,
I would love to write a novel, but I have no ideas. It's just blank head.
just write down all your ideas, and then I'll actually build them up.
I'll ghostwrite. I'll just help.
Yeah. I'll credit. Every single one of my books will be dedicated to you. And they'll be like, who is Mackenzie?
I'm like, lover? And like, no, podcast co-host.
Podcast.
Duh.
So he wrote over 120 plays, only 7 of which survived. And we only have 3 in their complete script.
Did they know what happened to the other ones?
I'm
Was
assuming
it part of didn't a library or something
the
get
burning
burned
of
down?
Alexandria. Don't remind me about that. Also, there are many claims that Sophocles was gay.
Icon.
He writes female characters well. I assume he was. Like, well, I read one of those other dudes' plays. Not a single well-written woman character in there. I live on a main road, and there are often ambulances. The ambulance go wee-woo, but that's a fire truck.
Yeah.
It's going south.
We do, be do, be do, be do.
Bob, Bob!
When she was little, loved Despicable Me, and so anytime anybody in the house like got hurt, she would run to the freezer and get an ice pack and go be do, be do, be do.
So, anyways, we mentioned that we're talking about the Theban lore, or not the Theban lore,
The Thebes.
So we're talking about the Theban plays, and to kind of understand.
Did you just say Theban?
Shut the fuck up. The Theban plays.
Theban.
Theban plays.
The band.
To understand those in their entirety, you kind of have to understand the lore of Thebes. So the lore goes that Cadmus, who is the grandson of Poseidon, is trying to help his dad find his sister.
Okay.
And he goes, yo, you know who I'm gonna fucking go ask? The Oracle of Delphi.
Okay.
And the Oracle of Delphi says, yo, go follow a fucking cow.
I feel like oracles are just like, they're just there to stir shit up. Like, life looks a little too good right now. Follow a cow.
But they're like, I think people of Apollo, and the one in Delphi was the girl that like fell in love with him, and then he was like, yo, become my oracle. I also could have fully made that up.
I don't know, be my oracle.
I could be your oracle. So he goes and finds this cow. It was given to him. And he follows this cow.
Milky White the cow.
Oh, he's told to follow a cow, and wherever it lays down found a city. Sorry. I forgot that part.
Milky White!
Milky White! So he follows this cow, and cow lays down, he found a city there. But first there's a dragon.
Like Toothless?
No. Like the scary red one that lights itself on fire.
Oh, the monstrous nightmare.
Yes! It's the Ismenian dragon, and this dragon is sacred to Ares. And Cadmus goes and fucks this dragon up.
I thought you were just gonna say fucks the dragon. I was like, whoa!
No, he kills the dragon, and then Ares is like, bitch, what the fuck? And so he is enslaved to Ares for 8 years. And
well, not that long for
like killing my dog.
If somebody killed my cat, like I would not just be like, give me 8 years and then I'll be over it.
Well, not only did Cadmus work for 8 years, Cadmus met Harmonia, who is Ares and Aphrodite's daughter.
Okay.
Forbidden love child. Ares and Aphrodite aren't actually married. Aphrodite's married to Hephaestus. Right? They get married. And Aphrodite gives them a robe and a necklace as a wedding gift. And it doesn't cause them any problems, but it has a curse on it for their descendants.
Okay.
And they had 5 children. I'm going to pronounce all of these names wrong.
You're going to pull a me?
Yeah. Polydorus. That's what that gives off. Agave.
Like the syrup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Autonoe. Ino. And Semele. All 4 of these women essentially go mad.
Did you not just say there were 5?
The first one's a man.
Okay, I was...
No, these 4 women, I'm not going to go too much into detail because I think their stories are really tragic but also kind of funny. But 2 of them take care of, have godchildren, and all of them go mad and either kill their sons or eat their sons. Yeah. So anyways, Polydorus. He's the important one. He has a son named Labdacus. It feels like there needs to be a vowel between the B and the D, but there is not. Labdacus. Labdacus.
Does he have a dragon?
He does not.
I want more dragons. They're all wyvern in there, too. I recently learned the difference between the two, and now I can identify if something is a dragon or a wyvern. That's my special skill.
My special skill is that I can look at German and say it perfectly.
No, if you show me a picture, I can be like, that's a dragon, that's a wyvern.
Isn't it legs?
Yes. Dragons have 4 legs and then wings. Wyvern have 2 legs and then the wings are like their top arms.
I'm just imagining Velociraptor, but instead of the arms, it's wings. Okay. Polydorus' son, Labdacus. He has a son named Laius. Laius. He, when it was his turn to be the king of Thebes, there was a lot of anarchy, so he said, fuck no, I'm out of here.
That's probably what I would do. If I was like a monarch, I'd be like, I can't handle this.
I can't handle this
I'm
right
abdicating.
now. During this time, he does a really horrible thing and gets cursed with the Sphinx.
Okay, I have things written down about the Sphinx.
Do you want to share what the Sphinx is? Share about the Sphinx?
Well, I just have part of the story.
Oh, the later part.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I want a Sphinx cat. Spelled differently than this Sphinx. Sphinx cats are spelled with a Y.
I hate Sphinx cats.
I want a black one, and his name is going to be Basil, and I'm going to call him Baz.
So, he gets cursed with this Sphinx, and then the anarchy is kind of over, and they're ready for a king, so he returns back home to Thebes, and is like, this is my home, this is my birthright, I'm the king.
We don't want you.
Yeah.
If you don't get me at my if you don't want me at my worst, and you don't want my anarchy, why would you want me at my best?
So then, he meets this bitch named Jocasta.
Okay.
And they get married. And then after being married for a little bit, Mr. Laius goes to Delphi.
Mm-hmm.
We love the Queen of Delphi. She says, well, he asks the question, how do I get rid of this Sphinx? And she says, this is how she answers the question, your child is going to kill you and then fuck your wife.
Bum, bum, bum!
And so he says, hell no. And he pledges to not have any children.
And then he does.
Well, Jocasta has a villain arc, and sexually assaults him because he was so drunk. And then that happened.
And they have a baby boy, and they're like, this can't, no. And so they pierce his ankles.
Yeah.
Tie him together and say, servant, throw him into the woods.
And then the messenger does not do
and
that.
The servant pulls a Snow White.
Like the mug? No.
No.
And so he gives the baby to the king and queen of Corinth. Because they want a baby, but they have no baby.
There were a few pass-throughs.
Oh.
In between those. Servant gave it to somebody else. They were like, we don't want the baby. Then it got passed to maybe somebody else again, and then... Details.
Anyways, the kid gets named Oedipus because that means swollen foot or
because
club
his
foot.
Feet were fucked up after being pierced through and tied together.
I'm trying to imagine if he got pierced through this part of his foot or if it was like right here in this spot behind your Achilles.
Either would hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Ow.
I feel like this part would be really malleable because he was a baby.
Why not just tie him together? Was the piercing really necessary?
He didn't want anybody to fuck his wife.
And kill him!
So, this is how Oedipus came to be. So then he grows up. He's now a big, strong boy.
With swollen ankles.
With swollen ankles. Probably also not a boy. Hopefully, definitely a man at this point.
I thought you were like, maybe a girl.
Wait.
I was like, I didn't see that in my research.
So he grows up believing he's from Corinth.
Yes.
And he kind of gets made fun of, from what I could tell, because people are like, you're fucking adopted. And he goes, I'm not fucking adopted.
Like, no.
I am not adopted.
Mom, they're saying that I'm a bastard.
Mom, they're bullying me for that I'm adopted when they should be bullying me for my feet.
Like you did to me. Ha ha ha. For context, here's a little story about Addison. My ankles are pronated in, which means they roll in like this. And we don't really know the cause of it, but I will eventually have my feet broken or my Achilles ripped to then reconstruct them so they're not like that. So my feet look weird, and I have been bullied throughout my life for it.
I didn't know this.
She didn't know this because I don't commonly, point my feet out to people, and I usually hold my feet up so they don't look weird.
Yeah.
I'm walking up the stairs, and Addison's behind me, and she goes, "Your feet look weird when you walk."
This is my most embarrassing moment from last year, genuinely.
And I was just like, oh.
You go, I was bullied for that.
And there's not really anything I can do about it, but...
And then I felt so bad, and I've said sorry so many times.
I think it's funny.
Anyways.
Maybe I am Oedipus. No, I won't kill my dad or fuck my mom.
So, Oedipus decides that he is going to go to this oracle that everyone before him has gone to ask if he is adopted. And the oracle says, you will kill your father and fuck your mother.
And he's like, I'm not going to do that, so I'm gonna peace out and flee to Thebes.
Yeah, because it will be safer for him there.
Yes.
Right? So then on his journey, he runs into this man. Well, I really think this man ran into him. He was in a chariot and had a very long pole.
Well, they were like, who has the right of way? It was like road rage.
And so they get in a fight, and he kills this man with the pole.
Which is so, like, funny to me. Like, just go around each other.
Yeah, like...
Did you really have to kill somebody because you didn't get the right of way?
Also, like, I'm personally assuming that Oedipus is on foot at this point.
But I think that Oedipus was like, they were in an argument, and then however you pronounce his name, Laius.
Yeah.
Laius tried to run him over.
Yeah.
And so then,
because Laius was in a chariot.
Yeah. And so then, like, in defense, killed him. But also, don't run people over.
Yeah.
Don't run people over. Say, after you. Or say, I'm the king. And
let me pass.
Oedipus would probably be like, okay, man, let me step onto the shoulder real quick. Like...
And also, like, this is definitely a road surrounded by farmland.
In my head, this is, like, happening on a highway. Like...
And so, he kills a bunch of people. Only one person survives it from Laius's group. I don't know anything about this man that survived.
One man witnessed it, and it was a servant or slave that was fleeing and just happened to see it happen.
Okay. Then Oedipus keeps walking. And he comes upon the Sphinx.
The Sphinx is like, she does this thing where she stops travelers that are going to Thebes, and she's like, I have a riddle for you.
Mm-hmm.
Pause. Let me look up the let me make sure I have the riddle.
I don't even write the...
Do you know the answer to the riddle?
No.
Okay, we'll see if you get killed.
Oh. Am I gonna die by the Sphinx?
So, the Sphinx stops all travelers going to Thebes and asks them a riddle. If they get the riddle right, they live and can continue. If they don't, she kills them and eats them.
Okay.
And so, the riddle is, what walks on 4 feet in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 3 at night?
Oh, I have heard this riddle before.
What is your answer?
Isn't it like man?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And so...
I don't get how that's man, though, but I...
Well, here, Oedipus says, man, as an infant he crawls on all fours, so at the beginning of life, morning. As an adult he walks on 2 legs, afternoon. And then in old age he uses a walking stick, 3. So, he's the first person to ever get this right. Yeah. The Sphinx is so embarrassed that this happened that she throws herself off a cliff and kills herself. And I was just like...
According to our teacher's lecture, there's a giant turtle at the bottom of this cliff that's been eating the victims.
But, like, this is just, like, the kind of drama I aspire to be. Like, she is just simply like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so embarrassed, let me just go die.
This is how I feel about when I'm...
Like, I trip on the sidewalk and I'm like, I might as well just go, like, bury myself.
Yeah.
Like, but I was like, this is so funny that she was just like, I am so powerful and have killed so many men, but you've outsmarted me, so whoop.
So then Oedipus arrives in Thebes, And everyone was like so thrilled that he killed this Sphinx. Because I'm assuming this Sphinx was like disrupting commerce.
Well, yes.
No trade.
No trade. Eating people or a turtle.
Yeah, like completely cutting Thebes off from the rest of the world.
Could you imagine everybody finding out, like, the Sphinx is dead, and they're like, what was the answer to the riddle? And they find out, and they're like, duh.
Yeah. And so they're like, we don't really know where our king is, but he's not here and hasn't been here for a couple weeks, so we're going to let this man marry our queen.
Jocasta's brother announced that.
Creon.
Yeah, he was like, anybody who can get rid of the Sphinx,
yeah,
you're king, and my sister over there, she's all yours.
I fucking hate Creon. Anyways, so they get married. Oedipus and Jocasta, who, if you remember from earlier, is actually his mom.
And they have 4 babies.
Yeah. Polynices, Eteocles.
Tickle? That's all
I tickle you.
I tickle you.
Antigone and Ismail.
4 little incest children.
Yeah. First of all, I cannot imagine these children having nice faces.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to think, like, is, like, the result of incest worse if it's brother and sister versus mom and son? Like, did you know there's a town in, like, Virginia or something that is just all incest?
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, but incestual children.
Yeah. So then...
Disaster
strikes.
Bum, bum, bum.
There's a plague.
Of infertility.
No
more babies. No more plants. No more nothings.
You're all gonna fucking die.
No more reproduction.
And Oedipus is like, oh, well, first of all, they're told this plague is because of the Kingslayer. Right? You killed the king. So now there's a plague. Oedipus tells Creon, you have to find the Kingslayer. And then Oedipus turns to Tiresias, who's a blind prophet, and also is kind of well known for, like, never having been wrong. And Tiresias tries to be like, yo, broski, you killed the fucking king. Right? And Oedipus denies this, because if he killed the king, and it's the only person he's ever killed, that means the thing the Oracle of Delphi told him would be true. And it can't be true, because his parents are in Corinth. He couldn't have killed his...
I think at this point his dad had died.
Oh.
His dad died, but he didn't go to the funeral because he was still, like, ashamed. But he was like, my dad's dead, so, like, I didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine.
Yeah. And then I believe that's when it came out that the OG servant was like, actually...
And I think it was like he went to him and he was like, yo, this is an issue. And then he went to Jocasta and was like, you would not believe what I've heard. And she was like, fuck. So what does she do?
Hangs herself.
Because she's like,
so ashamed.
Killed my husband. I married him and we have 4 children. So
imagine how old Jocasta is at this point. Honestly, wait, like, think in your head. She was old enough to have a baby.
Okay, but, like, that's, like, 12 or 13.
Okay, I'm thinking, like, 14 years old.
Okay.
Then this guy is old enough to go kill a grown man. Right? So I feel like he has to be at least 20 years old.
So she's, like, 34.
So she's 34.
And then their children are, like, adult children.
So she's, like, 60.
Yeah.
At this point.
But she hangs herself. Do we need to put a...
I'll put a...
Okay. Hangs herself. Oedipus finds her.
Yeah.
He takes the pins of her brooch and stabs his eyes out to blind himself as punishment and becomes exiled.
Yeah.
And who acts as his guide?
I don't know.
Antigone and the other daughter.
Oh. Ismene.
Yes.
And that is where Oedipus wrecks the first play.
Yes.
So then, in the second play... Oh, yeah?
My Oedipus complex.
Oh, yes.
So, all my little psychology friends out there, if there are any, you might have heard of the Oedipus complex.
I feel like even normal fucking people have at least heard the phrase.
Yeah, true.
Because Freud.
Shout out to Freud. It's like in Barbie when flat feet. Stop it, Ken. Sorry. Okay, so Freud's trying to figure out sexual desires and sexual behaviors.
Yeah.
Starting from childhood, da-da-da-da.
Yeah, Freud has some weird concepts about how that interacts with religion, by the way.
Yeah. Freud is trying to figure out how it works with females and males. The female version is the Electra complex. That has nothing to do with this, so we won't get into it. The Oedipus complex, though, is that around 3 to 4 years of age, all boys develop this, like, unconscious sexual desire for their mother. They're not aware it's happening, but they love their mommies in an inappropriate way. But they realize at the same time they're old enough to recognize the fact that their mommy already has somebody else, and that's their father.
Yeah.
So then it becomes a, like, I'm competing with my dad.
Yeah.
For my mother's affection.
Yeah.
But I wish I was making this up. So little boys are attracted to their mothers, they're competing, but they also recognize the fact that the father is more powerful.
Yeah.
Your dad is a full-grown adult.
Yeah, my dad, he's 6'3".
You are 4 years old. And so
I could beat up everybody but my dad.
They develop castration anxiety. In which they are scared unconsciously that their dad is going to find out that they like their mom and cut their penis off as...
How? I don't understand how Freud can, like, conceptualize this in his brain, because you can't talk about, like, what's the word you keep using when you
unconsciously?
Unconscious. You can't even, like, collect qualitative data on subconscious desires of a 3 and 4 year old boy, because first of all, have you ever tried to speak to a 3 or 4 year old boy?
Mm-hmm.
They're fucking weird.
Yeah. So the kids are scared that their dad is going to find out that he's in love with his mom and he's going to chop his penis off. And so he has castration anxiety, and this is an actual term. All of this was learned in a course, a sexuality course, and I was reading this in the library with children around, and I was like, this feels wrong. So the only way to avoid this is to identify as with the father. Become just like dad. So that's why little boys aspire to be like their dads. Is because otherwise their penises are going to get chopped off because they're in love with their moms.
I don't think at all that's why boys identify with their dads.
And so by identifying with him and intimidating him and becoming just like daddy, they begin to understand gender identity. They, like, develop the correct male social behaviors because they're trying to be like dad. And then, in the process, they suppress their desires for their mom until they can be as big and powerful as their dad, get rid of him, and possess their mother.
His whole thing on religion is, like, people only look to God because they hate their dads because they want to fuck their moms, so they need a new dad, and that dad is God.
Yeah. So these boys are like, I want my mom. My dad's going to cut my penis off because of this. So I'm just going to act like him until I can just take that motherfucker out and have my mom. Okay, well, by the time that they're as big as their father and could take him out, these feelings have become repressed. And instead, they're just going to seek out a wife who looks as similar to their mother as possible. So the urges for their mom are repressed and gone. They're not feeling those anymore. But they still have the urge to find somebody that looks similar.
Interesting.
And that is the Oedipus complex. Isn't that just so fun?
I hate Sigmund Freud.
I'll give you the Electra complex later.
I don't think I want to know it.
Important note. Freud never studied children. But yeah, that's the Oedipus complex. And now you know why it can. Now people know how it connects with
Oedipus in
his
mythology.
mommy.
So then there's the play between, and we're not going to go as in depth with it.
What is the play called?
I don't know or care. So here's what happens, and I'm going to try.
An educational podcast. We have to know.
Okay, so here's what happens. Oedipus resigns and leaves his sons to rule Thebes together.
It is called Oedipus at Colonus.
And then it's 1 year on, 1 year off. So it's supposed to be one kid and then the other kid. Right?
I don't know.
No, I'm just telling you.
Okay. Well, you said, right?
Antigone goes first. And then, when his year is up, he refuses to relinquish his throne to Polynices. And he's like, Polynices, get the fuck out. You are now exiled. And then...
Now I'm in exile, seeing you.
Throwback to what I first told you about the lore of Thebes. Polynices takes the cursed wedding gifts. He runs off to Argos. And then the king there, King Adastris, Adastris, when I say it fast, sounds like asterisk, offers his army. But he says the army has to go of their own volition. So Polynices is like, yo, take this necklace and come work for me. And so the army takes it. Then it's at the 7 gates of Thebes. I didn't Google it because I didn't care.
There are 7 gates.
There are 7 gates.
And they belong to Thebes.
Yeah. The 7 people from Argos, the army of 6 people, goes and fights the army of 7 from Thebes. And so it's 7 on 7. So it's 6 people and Polynices and 6 people and Eteocles. And they fight. And this is considered the second most famous war in Greek mythology.
After the Trojan War?
Yeah. But in fact, almost nobody knows what it is, but it's the second most famous.
It's giving Anyone But You being the highest grossing live action Shakespeare retelling.
So then Oedipus is like, fuck you both. And he curses them, saying, you're going to die at each other's hands. Because he was not happy that his brothers were fighting.
Oedipus said that?
Yeah.
His brothers?
What?
Aren't these his children?
Yeah. And brothers. Oh, fuck. I forgot that they're related like that. Okay. So he says they're going to die at each other's hands. And in fact, they do.
Yes.
Thebes technically wins because only 13 people die in this war, and the last man standing is from Thebes. But because both of the sons' brother dies, there's no king.
Creon!
So that's when Creon comes in, and I fucking hate him. He's the brother of Jocasta. And he issues a decree that Eteocles will be buried with pomp and circumstance. And Polynices is going to be left unburied.
I was blowing the horn so then you could give your decree.
Oh, wait. Do it again. I, Creon, declare that Eteocles shall be buried with the highest honor. And Polynices, that bitch, he don't get shit. Womp womp. So then this is kind of where Antigone starts.
Agony.
Antigone.
I don't like her name.
Antigone.
Yeah. I have to, consciously go, Antigone. Because otherwise I'm, Antigone.
Sounds like something you would buy on Temu for okay. The 2022 Super Bowl ad said Temu, and then the 2023 Super Bowl ad said Temu. And I think it's just a fucking social experiment trying to gaslight me. So I'm saying Temu.
Okay.
Like it's insect repellent. Antigone. Anyways. Do you know much about Antigone? And what happens in the play?
I know some stuffs.
Do you want to share what you know?
Her and her sissy act as a guide for Oedipus because he pokes his eyes out and they're like,
yeah, he can't see.
And he's exiled, so he can't do much, so they guide him around.
Yeah.
And then he dies, I'm pretty sure close to Athens.
Yeah.
He kicks the bucket.
Yeah.
So, what do? Well, they return. And her brother's dead.
Yeah.
Because they got into a little fight about power. And Creon, we all heard his decree. Yeah. And Antigone's like, I'm not really vibing with that. That's not how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
Both my brothers should be getting a proper burial.
Because Zeus says so.
Mm-hmm. And so what does she do? She secretly buries Polynices.
Yeah.
And Creon finds out.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you're gone. You're done. You're done. And orders her to be executed. Somehow she ends up in a cave and hangs herself.
Do you want to hear my full written summary?
My heading, Antigone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 bullet points. None of which are over 15 words.
I had 5 pages of notes. Okay, Antigone.
Agony.
Outside the city gates, Antigone tells Ismene, I think I should just try to say the name differently every time, tells that Creon has ordered that Eteocles, who died defending the city, is to be buried with full honors, while the body of Polynices, the invader, is left to rot. Womp womp.
Womp womp. Maybe, like, just get over not being king. If I had to choose between life and royalty, I would choose life. Like,
I think in my brain, his options were still be a royal, but not the king.
Or dead.
And, like, obviously, okay. Furthermore, Creon has declared that anyone attempting to bury Polynices shall be publicly stoned to death.
Like the lottery.
Yeah.
I love that.
Outraged, Antigone reveals to Ismene.
How is it spelled? Because
Ismene.
Ismena?
Ismena. Antigone reveals a plan to her sister to bury Polynices in secret, despite Creon's orders. When her sister timidly refuses to defy the king, Antigone angrily rejects her and goes off to bury her brother.
Okay, even if Zeus hadn't been like, this is how it goes, that would be so hard to just be like, yeah, my brother's rotting corpse, just gonna leave it.
Yeah.
That would be very hard.
Well, and she says at one point that even if it was her husband or son, she would not do it, but it's because it's her brother. And so, like, to me, that's like, oh, I wonder what
her brother and her uncle.
No, but this is just her brother.
No.
Oh my gosh, it's her brother and her uncle! Her uncle! I hate this. It's just her brother. I cannot do this anymore.
Could you imagine the family tree?
There's one on our reading. If you Google Antigone PDF, the first link has the family tree on it. So then, Creon discovers that someone has attempted to offer a ritual burial to Polynices and demands that the guilty one be found and brought before him. When he discovers that Antigone, his niece, had defied his order, Creon is furious. Antigone makes an impassioned argument declaring Creon's order to be against the laws of the gods themselves. Enraged by Antigone's refusal to submit to his authority, Creon declares that she and her sister will be put to death. Then we have a new character.
Why the sister? The sister refused. Because she's a woman?
Probably. Haemon.
Hey man!
Hey man! Comes in. Who is Creon's son, who was arranged to be married to Antigone. She was supposed to be fucking marrying her cousin. You look so thrilled to hear that.
Well, because I'm thinking Creon is her uncle, but also her great uncle.
Yeah.
So this cousin is like
her first cousin and her first cousin once removed.
Yes.
Does that mean her kid is both her daughter and her first cousin twice removed?
Yes.
Okay.
And like her brothers and sister, if they were alive, would be the child's aunt, but also
the child's
cousin.
Yeah. Okay.
This is just so icky.
Haemon advises his father to reconsider his decision.
Dad, don't kill my wife.
The father and fiance, they're not actually married yet.
Fiance, Dad.
The father and son argue. Haemon accuses Creon of arrogance and abuse of power. And Creon accuses Haemon of unmanly weakness in siding with a woman.
You know, in Zootopia, Dad, I said no freezing anybody at my wedding! Or whatever it is. That's giving... Dad, I said no killing my fiancé!
My fiancé cousin! Haemon leaves in anger, swearing never to return. Without admitting that Haemon might be right, Creon amends his pronouncement on the sisters. Ismene shall live, and Antigone will be sealed in a tomb to die of starvation rather than be stoned to death by the city.
I think I would rather be stoned.
So she was left to die in a cave so that the blood wouldn't be on Creon's hands because he didn't want the city of Thebes to be attacked by the gods.
I told you she ended up in a cave.
Yeah. So then the blind prophet Tiresias comes back. Tyrone warns Creon that the gods disapprove of his leaving Polynices unburied and will punish the king's impiety with the death of his own son. So, like, Antigone was right.
Mm-hmm.
After rejecting Tiresias angrily, Creon reconsiders and decides to bury Polynices and free Antigone.
I do like that he was like, he just assumed by putting her in a cave and just like leaving her to die rather than actively killing her, the gods would not be aware of everything else that happened. He's like, they're not gonna notice unless I kill her. They have no idea about all these other... Like, boy, are you dumb?
This kid has a direct descendant to Poseidon.
Like, are you stupid?
Are you stupid?
You don't think they haven't been paying attention?
This is fucking reality TV for them.
We should have renamed them all with names we could pronounce. Tyrone, Craig.
Yeah, we should have.
Annie.
Next time if we do another myth sometime, we'll do that.
No. You'll just have an episode to yourself and it's just you.
Creon's change of heart comes too late, though. Womp womp. Antigone has hung herself and Haemon, in desperate agony, kills himself as well.
Is it hanged or hung?
I wrote hanged.
I think it is hanged. I've never understood why it is hanged, but did he also hang himself?
It just says kills himself. On hearing the news of her son's death, Eurydice,
like,
I don't know.
Orpheus? Eurydice?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I would assume not.
I don't think so. It's Creon's wife.
Okay, then it's definitely not.
She also kills herself. Which then curses Creon. Alone, in despair, Creon accepts responsibility for all the tragedy and prays for a quick death. The play ends with a somber warning from the chorus that pride will be punished by the blows of fate.
The fact that all of this could have been prevented if Jocasta did not
assault her husband,
and if the servant had just had the balls to kill the kid.
Holy cow. It's a lot of death.
Yeah.
So then, like, the question that we get posed in class is, first of all, who would you decide as the hero of the play Antigone?
I feel like controversial opinion, maybe. You might not think I'm as much of a feminist after I say this. Her fiance.
Heyman?
Yeah.
I like him.
Like, I could argue that she is, but I think he is almost just as equally a hero.
He is the first person in, like, literature, the first man to die for his female love.
He's a girl's girl.
He is.
So I feel like both of them.
Did you know there's a population of people that think Creon's the protagonist?
He's probably like, Creon was just misunderstood.
He was just being a good politician.
He was grieving. He was upset about the dangers posed to Thebes and was just trying to do what was right. And this woman had the audacity to love her uncle brother. Also, I do think the fact that she was a woman is very important.
Because I think Creon would have respected her.
Yeah, if a man was like, you need to do this, he'd be like, okay, yeah.
It's Zeus's will.
He'd be like, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Anyways, there's not a lot funny about how much death we just talked about.
But we still made it silly. There's also not much silly about Freud being like, boys want their moms.
Yeah, it's a little funny.
They also want their penises.
I think Freud is just a wacky-ass dude.
I think one of the biggest red flags a man can have is thinking Freud is, like, good. Or respecting Freud. Anybody.
Yeah. It's like...
If anybody's like, I like Freud.
Why? Cite your evidence. What have you read by Freud? I've read a lot of Freud. What have you read? Nothing. Anyways, I don't know how to end this episode.
I don't know what our lines are. You wanna buy a sundial? Anyways, thank you so much for listening.
We hope you have a great month, and just remember, stay silly.
Silly Religion is devoted to providing a fun, educational, and brave space. We are not experts on the subject, nor are we claiming to be. If something we said during this episode was offensive, incorrect, or just wasn't the vibe, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. If you loved the episode, want to work with us, or just say hey, we would also love to hear from you. You can email us at sillyreligionpod@gmail.com. You can also leave a review and feedback on the podcasting platform of your choice.
Silly Religion is written and produced by Addison McCarty and Mackenzie Slump. Editing and graphics are done by Addison McCarty. Closed captioning is provided by Mackenzie Slump. Vibes are provided by The Adderall Shortage. Music is by ScottHolmesMusic.com.